Hello and welcome to Bitcoin Today from Crypto Corners. Here's everything you need to know about the price of Bitcoin on Friday, July 25th. Well, there are times where you really don't want to be driven crazy by all the FUD, all the fear, uncertainty and doubt that's being spread around. This sudden drop in the Bitcoin price last night, it's absolutely unexpected, at least it was for me, but at the same time this drop was very easy to explain. The main cause is there were traders who had bet on a quick all-time high and they now see their leveraged trades being liquidated. It's nothing else. We'll get back to that very shortly. Firstly, the crypto report card. It remains unchanged since yesterday. It's still a 5, and the main reason is that most altcoins are already recovering after the dip they've seen the day before yesterday. After all, and I can just repeat what I told you yesterday, the trend for most altcoin markets is currently bullish, and it is expected to stay that way for quite some time. It's actually increasingly bullish at the moment. Let's talk about the volatility on a month basis at the moment. I can be brief again, just like yesterday, it is unchanged. And that is even the case after the price drop we've seen today in European time. They started at 2 a.m. European time. Even after that drop, the Bitcoin price is still moving within the existing low and high on the monthly July chart. So the real movement could still come. We still have 7 days left for July. So we have a high that's currently 17.2% higher than the low. And this is still lower than what we could expect to be the volatility for this month, which would be 21.7%. So a healthy range for this month would be $101,300 on the lower side and $127,800 on the higher side. And we haven't seen either one of those sides just yet. Let's talk about the average daily volatility. The price yesterday did not break out of this zone. Once again, we're talking about European time. The things are different in the US. But in the European time zone, the price did not break out of the $116,500 on the lower side and $121,100 on the upper side. So yesterday wasn't a real exciting day for Bitcoin for us. But today in Europe is quite different. Let's start with the expected range for today, which is based on an average daily volatility of 3.2% and the lows and highs for yesterday. Well, that expected range for today was, yes, this is past tense, $115,800 on the lower side and $20,900 on the upper side. Well, we've already broken out of that range. The low that we have written down at the moment, which was at 9 o'clock this morning European time, was $114,518, which is about $1,000 less, more than $1,000 actually, than the expected low. And that means that for today, it could be very interesting. We might see much more movement, and that makes it actually very easy for Bitcoin traders to make very quick profits, both on the long side of a trade and on the short side of a trade. Now, for now, let's focus on the charts, and you cannot see the charts if you're listening to this podcast, but you can see them on the show notes, which you will find at bitcointodaypodcast.com. Do you remember the swing low that we discussed yesterday, the swing low that happened on July 22nd? Well, that swing low is now off the table. It still exists, but it is not a new trough. And the reason is that we have a lower trough already. The stable bullish trend yesterday, that we still have a very stable bullish trend today, but the trend that we saw yesterday made the chance of declines below that swing low actually very small. But what happened is that we were surprised again. And this is because technical analysis never offers you a certainty of 100%. You always have to count for surprises. And what happened yesterday is a high number of long squeezes. It was more than $300 million actually in 4 hours time. Caused the Bitcoin price to drop rapidly to about 2.5% in 4 hours time. And this means that the trough we had for the July 22 candle is now totally invalid. We'll get a new one, and we will at the soonest know the day after tomorrow, that will be Sunday, whether or not the current low, the low we've seen today here in Europe, $114,518, is actually the new swing low or not. We don't know yet. Fact is that although the Bitcoin price dropped actually more than 4% in the last 4 days, the daily chart trend is still bullish, stably bullish. The peaks and troughs are still higher, the MA lines are still in the correct order, and they all still point upwards. So in short, this price drop It seems severe, but for now, it's nothing else but a temporary slump, if you should call it that way. And actually, this is confirmed every day by all the enthusiasm you hear about among larger investors who are still buying Bitcoin by the dozens. And retail traders, well, we make the charts actually, and we have sometimes surprises by the devastating effect, for instance, of leverage trading. I was surprised as well. I can admit, and I will admit, I absolutely didn't see the drop we saw last night coming yesterday. Not at all. In fact, I am still counting on an all-time high that should happen quite soon. Am I too naive? We'll see. We'll find it out very quickly, probably later this month. Let's focus on the hourly chart for now. Again, you don't see them on your screen at the moment. This is an audio-only podcast, but if you want to see those charts, just go to bitcointodaypodcast.com, where you find the show notes, including my detailed analysis. So the hourly chart, well, there wasn't too much to discuss the day before yesterday. Yesterday we had this falling wedge. Today there's a lot to discuss. Actually 4 things I want to focus on for right now. Let's focus on the falling wedge signal first. That one is now invalid, off the table, very quickly. The reason, very simple, the price kept moving sideways and it didn't fall, which is necessary for a falling wedge. That's why the thing is called a falling wedge. Unless it breaks out on the upper side, neither of those two things happened, which makes this signal invalid. So forget about the falling wedge right now. That price target, $121,800, if I remember correctly, is now off the table for this falling wedge. So that's one. Then the trend, second. We didn't have a really clear trend on the hourly chart. Well, we had a sideways movement in a probably upwards trend, a bullish trend, but right now it's very clear what's happening. The trend has now reversed to bearish. We have lower peaks and lower troughs, and the MA lines are also in the correct order for a bearish trend. But there is this one thing, this elastic effect. We've discussed this in an earlier podcast already. Currently, the price is way too far from the MA20, so it's way too far from its own moving average over the last 20 candles. And this means that the price will almost automatically be pulled back to that MA20 line. And there's 2 ways that can happen, or a combination of those 2 ways actually. The MA line falls further, which is logic. The price is already quite some time under the MA20, or the price rises, or both of those things happen. Then there's a chart pattern that is very visible. If you have a look at the candles from the moment the price started to fall, again, this was at 2 a.m. European time. It's the first candle where you see a real momentum, a large body. And you see that that momentum clearly increased for a few candles in a row with larger bodies and hardly any wicks. But since 9 a.m. European time, that has changed. The wicks are now longer and we have a doji at 9 a.m. Doji is a chart pattern. It indicates uncertainty about price movements. Buyers and sellers, they simply cannot agree on the direction. And if a doji happens within a price movement, within a rally or within a sudden fall, it very often precedes a reverse movement. In other words, in this case, the price should then increase. And I'm actually recording this podcast at a little after 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And currently, if I look at the 1 hour chart, which I'm doing right now, I see one complete green candle with a price increase of about $1,700. To be followed by another one, but that one is only 6-7 minutes old, but it now looks like we've really hit the bottom with that doji, with the swing low that doji has actually caused to happen. So the doji is there. It predicts very often, it predicts a price increase, which now seems to happen as well. What else is there? Well, absolutely not the least important one is the trading volume. Yesterday night, again, European time, that trading volume exploded and it indicated that there is more than enough buyers present to acquire Bitcoin at a lower price. They've simply taken advantage of this opportunity to buy Bitcoin for cheap, so to say. Now, if you have a rising trading volume with a falling price, that's called a divergence. It's a divergent signal. The volume indicates increasing interest in trading Bitcoin, but that doesn't fit with a falling Bitcoin price. And the result is often that the price rises very quickly after the drop. So what do I expect based on all of this? Well, for me, it is very clear that the Bitcoin price drop that we've seen has nothing to do with Bitcoin itself. There's no decreasing market confidence or anything like that. The price drop is just simple technical thing. It's a result of mass liquidations. So we still have the possibility of much higher prices and therefore maybe even a new all-time high. But now it needs to happen quickly. And the reason is the markets are about to become very restless again due to all that news about import tariffs and possible trade wars and whatever. If you remember, we've seen what happened in the first week of April when Trump really announced one tariff after the other and countries decided to strike back with even higher reciprocity tariffs, and what have we seen, all that stuff. So for now, and for the coming few days, I am keeping a very, very close eye on the hourly chart. If on the hourly chart the price remains above the low that we have seen at $114,580 at 9 a.m. European time, if the price in the coming hours remains above that low, then I do expect significant price increases in the coming hours. And I also expect the trend on the hourly chart then to reverse to bullish very quickly. Now, if the price drops below that swing low that we've seen, $114,518, then things might get intense for a while, but I simply see no signal on any chart that a real panic will break out. There's actually no reason for it at the moment. Having said that, this is what I see. I'm not giving you any financial advice, and everything I tell you is just what I expect to happen. It's not a prediction that it will happen. I will never give you a tip to buy something or to sell something. The best thing I can tell you, and it's really advice that I follow myself as well, always do your own research, preferably always in the same way before you decide to buy or sell anything. Okay, that's it for now. Talk to you next week. Until then,